everyone, welcome to my channel. It's me, Mish, the Dorky Reader, and today's video is my mid-year freakout book tag video. At this point of the year, about 6 months in, people online do these book tags, or these freakouts, whatever they want to call them, where they kind of go over their favorite and least favorite books of the year by answering a set of questions, which I'll try and put in the comment section below or in the little video description box in YouTube. So if you wanted to do your own little book tag video, please go ahead, copy paste them and make your own. Anyway, I have with me, I've pulled all these different books from my shelves. Hopefully I remembered to grab all the ones that answered the right questions, and I'll just jump right into it. So the very first and most important book prompt for this book tag is going to be the best book you've read so far in 2026. And for me, it's hard for me to tell just one. I think a lot of people are like this, where they can't pick just one. But I do have a couple here that I'd like to show off. One is actually books 1 and 2 of the same series, and that'll be The Will of the Many and The Strength of the Few by James Islington. I love this series so far. It is so well written. It has lots of like twists and turns, lots of political tension, all sorts of stuff. And I really loved how book 2 was put out there. So I think this is probably one of my favorite books, and it's going to be really hard to beat this specific book at the end of the year. But there is one that is a competition for sure, and that would be Frederick Bachman's Anxious People. I really loved this book. It really touched me. I cried my eyes out reading this thing, but I also laughed, and it has some of the best quotes, the best written prose I've read almost ever. I just really love this book. It is not in my favorite genre, so in that way, I think The Strength of the Few was more exciting for me, because this is definitely not a fantasy or sci-fi, but it was really moving and beautiful, and I thought it definitely needed to be mentioned. But yes, so I would say that is probably my favorite books. Those are probably my favorite books so far this year. Okay, the next thing on the list, ooh, this is gonna be really brutal. I don't like answering questions like these, but it's the worst book of 2026 so far. Tea. I'm gonna have to be honest, I really did not enjoy reading canon. And it wasn't the writing. The writing had an interesting flow, and it was very digestible. It was the characters. I didn't like the characters. I had no connection to them, so I didn't care about their journeys. Well, there was one. Yara was okay. Yara's story had moments that I was invested, but the rest of the cast of characters in this world, for me, felt like nothing. Like it was just air. And so because of that, I didn't care, and I didn't enjoy it that much. And that's really sad. This cover is still, I think, probably the prettiest cover. And you'll see that again later in the prettiest book category. But it wasn't for me. Okay, the best sequel I've read. Well, obviously The Strength of the Few, since it's a sequel, is gonna be on the list. It is incredible. Another option for me, of course, since I can't just keep putting the same book out there, is The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinniman. I haven't gone beyond this yet, but so far in the series, this is my favorite of all the Dungeon Crawler Carl books. I had such a great time reading it. Samantha is a legend. I love her. That's all I'm gonna say. And I really love this. I know this series, this world, it's not for everyone. As a gamer, I love video games. I like that whole like looting system thing. That stuff doesn't bore me like it would bore a lot of readers. So if you're not interested in that kind of like lit RPG style writing, don't get into it, don't have high expectations. But if you're a gamer and a nerd, then this is probably gonna work for you. I definitely recommend this book to all of my guy friends who don't really read that much. I feel like, because all my guy friends are gamers, they would really enjoy this. Alright, so next on the list I have the worst sequel, and again, I hate doing worst of books because I feel kind of bad, but the series as a whole is actually pretty great, especially for middle grade, and the first 2 books were so great, especially because they had these great twists in the plot, which were good at catching you off guard. Like, I didn't see some of them coming. I mean, some of them maybe, but it wasn't so obvious. However, the 3rd book, the twist was pretty obvious, and because of that, it felt kind of like, okay, I'm not as invested. Like, it wasn't as exciting. The writing kind of was neutral. I think it was things were just getting tied up kind of quick. It wasn't the best of the 3 books for sure, and so I would consider this the worst sequel that I read this year. Okay, the next on the list is a new release you haven't read yet, but really want to, and I have several actually. I know there's one that's really popular and going around right now, which is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. I don't know how new this is, but it was kind of newish to me when I picked it up probably a couple months ago, and I am very excited to give it a try. Everyone who's been reading it has said it's like fantastic, and it's got a really touching, beautiful story, and it's written in letter format, which I find that I really like that format for writing. Oh, there was my alarm. I really like that format for writing because it seems to make the story go faster. And sometimes with ADHD, if you're losing focus, you need something quick, and you're like, oh, okay, good. Another book I'm really looking forward to that was released this year is The Legend of the Nine-Tailed Fox by Katrina Kwan. This story features a nine-tailed fox demon and a demon hunter, and as a final act of vengeance, the nine-tailed fox drags this demon hunter down into hell with her, and then I guess they have to find a way out or to escape together in some kind of way. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a romance between a nine-tailed fox and a demon hunter, and I think it's going to be very exciting. And the 3rd book that I'm really looking forward to reading is Nobody's Quest. This is a newish book I picked up at a local independent bookstore here in town, and this is a romantic fantasy fiction, and I believe that the character struggles with issues of self-worth and depression, and so there might be some of those topics woven in to the story. And as someone who has struggled with depression a lot of my lifetime, I usually get really moved by those kind of things, and so I have a feeling this will be a tearjerker, though maybe I'll be wrong and it's like a comedy in disguise and I don't know what I'm talking about. But when I read that about this book, I was like, oh, well, I think this is a good book for me to try. So those are 3 books that are new releases that I'm excited to get into. All right, for the next prompt, it says your most anticipated book of the second half of the year. And because I'm not really a good planner, so to say, I have ADHD, I usually just let things happen as they happen and I don't look ahead for anything. But I have heard about The Wolves of War by John Gwynne, a famous fantasy author who's coming out with a new series, so that does sound interesting. I'll put a little picture here, I guess. And then also the 3rd book from the Tainted Cup series, but I haven't read book 2 yet. However, I've heard really good things about the series, and I do own book 2. So if I read it and like it as much as I love book 1, and I did, I loved book 1, then I'll be definitely picking up book 3. And people that have the advanced copies and have read it already online have mentioned how great it is, and I think it's their favorite. So that's really exciting. So I'll put that there, and I forgot the name, so I'll just have it written down here hey, this is what the name of the book is, and this is book 3 in the Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, I believe is the author. So I remembered that much. Okay, and so the next prompt here says your biggest surprise of the year. Well, I have 2 surprises, one negative surprise and one good surprise. And so I'm going to start with the bad and go to the good, because then it gives you a boost to the end. But I was surprised that I didn't like Red Star Rebels. Everything about this book should have made me love this book. Fast-paced, sci-fi, YA, which I liked YA, and the plot was really cool. It was a really cool plot, and it would have made a great movie. But the romance in this didn't work for me. It was way too fast and pushed. It just felt forced, and it wasn't the slow build I think I like. And so it took away from the plot because it made everything else seem less realistic. So in that way, I didn't enjoy it. This book was too thin and too small for what it could have been. Like, it was a really cool idea, and it should have worked, but it just didn't. So I was surprised, and I like this author, Amy Kaufman, so I was surprised. The good surprise, the one I was expecting not to like, but ended up really liking, was The Scorpion and the Night Blossom. I am really picky with romantasy, and I tend to think a lot of stuff is super cringy and I don't like it. But I love this. I thought this was really well done, and it even had like certain tropes or certain like character traits in this that normally don't work for me, but for whatever reason, this was written in a way that I liked. I enjoyed it. I really liked the story. Also, it helps that I got this gorgeous Fairy Loot cover on a used book website. I'll never find the sequel for this in this edition. I know that they're selling for a stupid amount of money. Maybe I'll get lucky and someone will have like spilt something on a page and I can get it, because I really want them to match. Oh, that's so frustrating. But anyway, The Scorpion and the Night Blossom, a beautiful Asian-inspired romantasy, and I loved it. So I was surprised. Let's see here. Your favorite new author? Well, there's a couple. Obviously, I think because, again, my favorite books of the year were The Will of the Many and The Strength of the Few, and I'd never read any other James Islington books, he obviously makes the list as a favorite new author. I think these works are really great. They're, even though book 2 made me so angry, but it was also so good. So his writing is really great. I liked it. But I think if I were just to take in prose and the way, like, I don't know, like author's intent, etc., I think Frederick Bachman, I've only read one so far. This one book has made me a Frederick Bachman fan, and I think I'm going to give all of his books a chance because of how much I love this. It really, really, really hit the spot. So Frederick Bachman is my favorite new author, I think. And that's saying something, because I am a fantasy sci-fi girly that is like 95% or more of what I read. And so, yeah. Okay, anyway, your newest fictional crush. Well, if I had to go through all the books I've read so far this year, there are 2, and I'll start with this one. Obviously, The Scorpion and the Night Blossom, as a romantasy, had such a great male romantic lead. Like, I loved him. His name was Yu Chen, and he has, I don't want to do any spoilers. It's really hard to do stuff like this without giving spoilers. But let's just say he's got this cool dark vibe going on, and it's, I don't know, he's dreamy. He's so dreamy. He's so easy to imagine. Like, take your favorite, like, Asian superstar, if you're into K-dramas, Chinese dramas, J-drama, whatever you're into, put your favorite superstar, your idol, in that role and just go to town with imagination. It's so great. All right, let me get book 2. Okay, and so another fictional crush. I'm not going to say who, because there are multiple male romance interests in this book, sort of, like, but there's one main one. And the one main one, which I'm not going to give away, he is my second fictional crush. I do totally really like the guy that plays the part. I can't say anything. Like, everything I say could potentially be a spoiler. So I'm just trying to not spoil anything. But if you haven't read This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me, it is about a girl who wakes up in her favorite book series of all time. All of her favorite characters are there, and this world is dangerous. It is not a safe place to be. She has nothing. She has no clothes. She wakes up in a gutter, and she has to kind of like just figure out a way to survive. As she does, the series is called Maggie the Undying, so as the name leads you to believe, like, she is unable to die. So she dies a couple times figuring this out. And it's a really great little fantasy. I will say that there is a lot of info dumping in this one, so if you're not into that, don't read it. But anyway, the guy in this, he's great too. So Yu Chen and the guy in this book, which I can't say the name of. Go figure. Okay, so there's that. What's the next prompt? A book that made you cry. Well, that's easy. What book made me cry? Anxious People. Anxious People made me cry more than any other book I've ever read. I think I really just, I don't know, I was weeping. So I guess it's the subject matter of this book with unaliving and the like, depression, some other things going on, feelings of self-worth, of whatever. All those topics are mentioned and brought up and delivered in such a beautiful way. And so because of that, I really felt it in my heart. And even with this cast of totally weirdos, like they're all really weird people, even with this weird, strange, funny cast, it found a way to make me cry like a lot. And it has, I don't know, it's beautiful. I've said that like 1,000 times. That's just, I guess, gonna be my Anxious People review. So a book that made you happy. Ooh, this one's easy. You know what book made me happy? This one, The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. And I've recently read book 2 that also made me happy. This whole series is gonna make me happy. Like, I can feel it in my bones. Her writing, her character, it is so charming. Emma is charming. She's a charming character, and it's like, I don't want to say reverse harem because it sounds bad, but there's all these different male suitors that are scattered throughout the world, and you have no idea who she's going to end up with. But I love hearing little bits about each of them. They're all cool and interesting, and they all make you go, woo! I don't know, I just love it. So, The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, such a great little series. This first one is super small. The second one's a little thicker, and I think the third one even thicker. I'm hoping they get bigger as they go, but I don't know. Probably not. Not too much bigger than they are. Because they're basically little journal entries, and they go through like up into like a couple months worth of journals in each book. So maybe she writes more some months than others. Who knows? Okay, The Prettiest Book You Bought. Oh man, it's gonna call me out, isn't it? So, let's see here. I bought a lot of books. I have an addiction, but some of the ones I think that are prettiest are this one. This is Cold Wire by Chloe Gong, and this one has a really cool like cyberpunk look, and the edge too. I gotta close my eyes, otherwise I won't focus on it, but it's just so pretty and cool looking. I love it. Another one I think is really beautiful is My Martian, The Martian by Andy Weir. I bought this because I love Project Hail Mary. It was my favorite book of 2025. And he's written The Martian and another book too, and I haven't read either of those. But they recently came out with this really beautiful orange The Martian cover, and I just had to get it. So there's that. And then I got this really pretty version of the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, I believe this one is, right? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was really pretty. I love the sprayed edges of the snowy like tree in the woods, and I had to get it because I don't have this series. I hope they do one for each book in this series. I know that this is not technically the first, it's book 2, but people always read this one first. At least I did. So I guess The Magician's Nephew, maybe they'll go back and make one like this for them too, so I can get it all. And the last one I picked up, and I think is really pretty, is this book here called The Rain Shadow Orphans, and it has a cat on the spine. So as you can tell, I really love sprayed edges. I know some people aren't a huge fan. I like them. I think they're really charming, and I don't ever put them this way in the bookshelf though. I should do that so I can show them off. But overall, it's just a really pretty, simple book, but I don't know, there's something about it. It really was lovely. Okay, so those are my prettiest books. And then the last prompt, we're there, we made it, is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And anyone who knows me knows the answer to this question. One of them, anyway, is going to be Joe Abercrombie's Best Served Cold. I've been putting this book off, like, so bad. I don't know what it is. I am just not grabbing it. I'm not sure why. The first trilogy, The Blade Itself, and Before They Were Hanged, or whatever. That series is like my favorite fantasy series. I loved that series. I loved the character work. I love his writing. I loved everything about it. Joe Abercrombie's a genius, I'm convinced. And I want to read this. Every part of me wants to read this except for the one part that doesn't. And the one part that doesn't is probably putting it off so that I don't finish it, because then it will be done. Maybe that's what's happening. Also, it is going to be like, you know, small font and it's dense, and it'll take me actually paying attention really well to the book. And while the kids are home screaming in summertime, it feels like, ugh. And then school's gonna start, I'm gonna get busy, and then I'll use that as an excuse. So we'll see, I don't know. The other book I really wanna read by the end of the year, and I know I will, I'm gonna pick this up in October if it kills me. It's I Shall Wear Midnight by Terry Pratchett. Tiffany Aching is one of my favorite female characters of all time. This book series is probably my favorite book series of all time. And I know I said that with Joe Abercrombie, he's right up there, but if I really think about it, that Tiffany Aching series is funny, it's meaningful, and the women in that book world that Terry Pratchett has made, they're like the best written women's from a man I've ever read. Like, he really, I feel like he gets it. I like Terry Pratchett quite a lot. Anyway, I Shall Wear Midnight is book 4 in the Tiffany Aching series. There'll be one book after this to finish it off for me, and I'll be done with Tiffany Aching forever, and I'll cry. But in the meantime, I need to read I Shall Wear Midnight, and I know I'm going to do it this year. So I know there are other books too that I want to get around to reading, but those two make the top of the list, and I think that concludes my mid-year book freakout tag thing. So I hope you had fun watching this video. I hope I didn't ramble too horribly, and I'll try and edit and put it out before July is over, even though these books are all from, you know, January 1st to June 30th. So we'll see how I can manage to get this out there. Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your summer, because summer's coming to an end in a month or two, right? Maybe. I guess I live in a hotter part of the country, and so I feel like the hot air lingers well into the end of October. You don't start getting cool air until like November. Ugh. Anyway, I hope you had a wonderful time watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.